Welcome to Experiments in Leadership. I am Sonu Bhasin. My guest today is Puneet Gaur. He's the COO of Next Quarter, which is an AI company based out of Virginia, the US. But he's also worked across the world in quite a few other tech companies like TCS, Avaya, DXC Technologies. DXC is quite a tongue twister, among others. He has 2 bachelor's degrees and 4 masters, and he's a voracious reader. He has over 5,000 books in his personal library. So I guess it would be fair to say that he's a man of science, maybe even a techie. And therefore, it is very, very interesting for me personally to know that Puneet helps people in his free time, of course. He helps people through past life regression and aura management. I know that he helped me read my own aura, and that too with the help of technology. So, viewers, I guess be ready for a rock and roll conversation which swings from astral travel on one side, which Puneet says he's done, to digital technology and artificial intelligence and much more. And I look forward to talking to you, Puneet, and welcome to Experiments in Leadership. And let's kick straight off. Yeah, I want to ask you, tell me the connection between astral travel and artificial intelligence, or let me put it another way, is astral travel all hocus pocus, or is there a science behind it?
Thank you, Sonu. This is a really big honor for me to spend this time with you.
Not at all.
You are such an accomplished person, so I really thank you for taking time out
Not at
to
all.
have this discussion
Not
with
at all,
me.
Puneet.
So,
अभी
astral,
astral travel के बारे में बताओ.
sure.
हाँ.
So, astral travel is a science,
Hmm.
and it takes certain kind of steps to
Hmm.
go to that level of astral travel.
Hmm.
The starting base is typical meditation, pranayam, and being thoughtless in a samadhi state, in a
Hmm.
thoughtless state.
Hmm.
If you are in a constant thinking process, then
Hmm.
you are oozing out energy out in the world. So it is very difficult for a common man like me to do an astral travel when I'm oozing out energy myself. You need external universal help to do the astral travel. Your
Hmm.
body stays here, but your sukshma sharira that goes
Hmm.
out of the body and start doing the astral travel.
Hmm.
So becoming a samadhi state sometimes take years, months, also depends upon your past life, as you were alluding to earlier, how
Hmm.
many meditations you have done in your past life. So
Hmm.
it was a sort of a fluke event for me that I started doing astral travel when I was a kid. And I did not know that I'm
As a
doing astral
kid,
travel
as
as
a
a kid
kid,
when
you
I was,
started doing. I
I,
mean,
uh, I
kids
would,
are associated with fidgeting, always moving, unable to sit still. And astral travel, you say, is, where you need to sit still, let your body just be still, and only allow your mind to travel.
yeah, I think child has a lot of innocence, and they often go in a samadhi state. And for last many lives, I have been doing sannyas, and I was a sadhu, so that carried on. So
Hmm.
when I started going school, that's my earliest memory of astral travel is that's when I started doing astral travel. I
Hmm.
would go out with couple of people, and while
Hmm.
my mom would wake up in the evening, I wanted to tell her I just came back. I'm tired. And she would not understand. She thought I am kidding, I'm lying because I don't want to go to school, but I
Hmm.
had traveled to so many places and I used to feel tired. So
Hmm.
that's my earliest memory
Hmm.
of it. And then I would pray to God sometimes, don't take me out because I have to go to the school next day. It
So
doesn't work.
just a question, if you could astral travel, so you could stay at home and just allow your mind to go to school so that you don't have to go to
Yeah, I know. I wish.
school, right?
Astral travel, yeah, usually it's more fun when you're going to different realms than on Earth. I mean, you can go on Earth and do astral travel as well, but usually the body rejuvenates more, or the soul rejuvenates more, not the body, when you have
Hmm.
astral travel to higher dimensions.
So tell me, I mean, a lot of people may have read about it, but coming from you, you've got like science behind you. You work with computers, you work with technology. So how do you marry astral travel with technology? How can you explain it? Or is it possible to explain it using technology?
I don't think at current stage astral travel itself can be explained through technology,
Hmm.
but you have seen yourself the aura can be.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first baby steps toward astral travel.
Hmm.
Chakras can be. We looked at your chakras that day.
Hmm.
Your activation of pituitary gland can
Hmm.
also be measured through some
Hmm.
of the EEG devices that I was showing you. So a
Hmm.
lot of things, science is going in the direction where they can measure. We can prove it or not. That can be done.
Hmm.
People can do astral travel and tell you what is going on in different part of the world. That is a good proof. That's a
Hmm.
good scientific proof in a way,
Hmm.
and that is very easy to do. I can travel to a temple. That's where usually I go to, and
Hmm.
then say this is the dress Vigra is wearing, or this is what some person is doing. So with that, you can prove that astral travel is easy and common as
Sure.
well.
I mean, this is such a fascinating topic, and we can talk a lot about it. But since the title of my podcast is Experiments in Leadership, I do want to link astral travel, past life regression to leadership. Is there any way that these can be used by people or by you to help people become better leaders?
I will give you two examples. I had a very tough boss in US, Indian boss. They are usually very tough, and I used to wonder what have I done to get such a boss, and he
Huh,
knows about it. So when he
huh,
hear it, he knows that
huh.
I'm talking about him.
Hmm,
And when I did my past life regression, I
hmm.
realized that I was his tough boss in the previous life. So it's just a payback. This is all karma paying back, and all the anger that I had,
Huh.
it vanished. I thought it is good that all my karmic debts are getting paid off in this
Hmm,
birth. And I
hmm,
went to him and I said, "So and so, I forgive you because I know it is my own doing." So you learn to forgive, and
hmm,
then you learn to realize. The
hmm,
reverse side is when if I'm getting angry on someone if they don't do the work, I'm in that position.
hmm,
My first thought comes is if I don't treat other person correctly, it is
hmm,
going to come back to me in other lives, and that's
hmm,
that I teach to my teams as well. That you
hmm,
have to treat everyone with the respect. Don't get flowed away with the false notion of leadership that floats around these days. That I'm a leader, so I can bully anyone. You
hmm,
have to think through it is a cyclic karma, and
hmm,
how you treat someone today you
hmm.
will be treated in the next birth.
Hmm. So this is about, helping people understand that they need to be more mindful of the way that they treat people in this life. Uh, Otherwise, it'll come back to haunt them in their next one. Now, for us Indians, it's very easy for us to appreciate this fact because we do believe that it's not only one life, but there is, rebirth, etc. But how have you tried doing it or explaining it to people who are from other faiths because they don't believe in rebirth?
Yeah, so usually I don't start with past life. I start with aura,
Mm-hmm.
and I can actually demonstrate aura
Hmm.
easily.
Hmm.
That if you do simple breathing exercises, your aura power will increase.
Hmm.
And if you go into a meeting with
Hmm.
your aura power more than 50%, then
Hmm.
your ability to influence in
Hmm.
negotiation and discussion goes up dramatically,
Hmm.
and that people can test it also right away. So they do a session with me,
Hmm.
they reach 50-60% aura power, and they come back as a winner out of the meeting. So
Hmm.
once the trust starts with aura, then sometimes if the audience is receptive, then
Hmm.
I bring up the past life experiences.
Okay, so again, if I paraphrase it, if I to understand it a little better, is that as a leader, when you have to go out, meet people, influence them, whether they're your bosses, whether they're your team members, whether they're external partners, you need to be more in control. Because if you say that you can enhance your aura by meditation, meditation to me is just putting all your focus and not letting your attention fritter away into frivolous things. So, as a leader, one needs to be focused on what you're doing, and therefore it will then become results will be better. Is my understanding correct?
Absolutely, yes. Totally agree.
Great. So I think that's a great lesson for people who may not even believe in, aura or astral travel or any of this, but just the fact that you can meditate, any form of meditation to bring about focus, it does help in your dealings with other people. But, again, since we are talking of experiments in leadership, in your career, uh, does any leadership experiment stand out that has worked really well for you?
Humility is something that has worked very well for me. And as I started growing in my career after I graduated from Harvard,
Hmm.
I was on peak of my ego. I thought I'm top of the world.
Hmm.
And within a year or so, I started realizing how that is destroying my teams, how it
Hmm.
is destroying the faith of my teams on me.
Hmm.
And then I had some spiritual experiences again through my team members, which were
Hmm.
very humbling. And
Hmm.
I realized being more humble and
Hmm.
understanding their pain points becomes a very critical factor for a leader. I know once I was pushing my teams to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And later I realized that one of my recruiters has a brother in prison and she wanted to meet him. And because of
Hmm.
me, she could not.
Huh.
And that created so much negative energy in her as well, which I could sense,
Hmm.
and frustration, which then started spreading out. People don't realize that your energy that you use out, it spreads into your room, in your office, and then it starts affecting others. That's a pure, simple
I,
science.
I have to interrupt you there. It is so true. It is so true. I mean, if you're talking of a workspace, if you have a boss who comes into the room glowering, he or she doesn't have to say a word. The entire room feels that negative energy. So, and of course, it's true in marriage, of course. Your partner doesn't have to say a word, but that energy affects everyone in the house.
Totally agree. And there are instruments now which can
Hmm.
measure the energy of a room, energy of a place. And
Hmm.
people have demonstrated that. I have some of those instruments. So
Hmm.
after that, I changed my focus from people pushing people to
Hmm.
their own self,
Hmm.
their families, and how I can help them grow. So that
Hmm.
became very important for me. And this is, I teach my teams as well. And
Hmm.
every time there is a tough situation, I
Hmm.
clearly say your family first, business second,
Hmm.
because your family and soul is going to last longer than any company, any project, any customer. And
Hmm.
if you are, it's sort of a meditation, what you were alluding to.
Hmm.
If you have fixed the problem at home, then you can meditate better at your work.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I think, for all the young people, young aspiring managers, aspiring CEOs, I think it's a very important quality that you talked about, which is humility and not letting your ego come between you and your people. Because it is my belief that ultimately, no matter whether you're a techie, no matter whether you're on the shop floor, no matter what job you're doing, it's ultimately people who deliver. And if you treat people right, magic can happen. I mean, people who talk to me know that I sound like a broken record. Magic happens when you are able to harness the energy of the people and make them work for a common objective. But now that we are talking about people and you work in AI, it is said that AI is going to replace people for a lot of jobs. Now, how does that work? Uh, what kind of jobs are then people be required to do? Or are we going to live in a world where, humans are just going to chill at home and, sip pina colada by the beach, and it's the AI robots who are just going to be doing all the work? What is your vision of AI?
I wish that pina colada picture was true. I want to do the same. Uh, it is same discussion or fear that we had when computers were coming in and
Hmm.
people thought people will lose a job. I
Hmm.
think this is just about skill upliftment and a different skill training. People who are doing simple writing, they will upskill themselves to
Hmm.
use AI to do a better writing, to create better music, to create better scripts. The technology itself will change. The writers will become more tech writers. Musicians will become more tech oriented musicians. So things will change, but jobs will not go. It will become faster. Things will be more creative. You would be able to do more. It's a nuclear science. There is a good part of AI and a bad part of AI as well.
Hmm.
All the
Hmm.
fake videos is the bad part of nuclear science or nuclear bomb. Similarly, there are pros and cons of AI, and you will find people who will use both
Hmm.
ways of any technology. But jobs are not going to go away.
Jobs are not going to go away, but again, I'm just trying to couple AI with the other conversation that we've been having about meditation and the use of mind. Now, AI is going to free up a lot of mind space for people because all that computing, so to say, computing work, the machine is going to do. Now, wouldn't it then, I mean, how are people going to use their free mind? They also say that an empty mind is a devil's workshop. So, are people going to be doing more astral travel because now they have more mind space to meditate? Or is the world going to become a darker place because people will have so much of time that they will embrace negative thoughts more easily? I mean, what AI is fascinating, but it's also scary. And the scary part is all of this. How are we humans going to react to machines all around us and the empty mind space that we have?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So first, I want to break a myth about AI
Huh.
that a lot of your listeners might have, that it is not a magic. You have a math background. So
Hmm.
in very simple terms, AI is just regression,
Hmm.
probability,
Hmm.
and differential calculus. That's all AI is, which is
Hmm.
done repeatedly, and then you
Hmm.
come up with the result and gives you optima,
Hmm.
maxima, minimum. That's all AI is. So
So
lot of
sorry to interrupt, but AI is the probability of something happening. It doesn't give you surety.
correct.
Would
Yes,
that be
I
correct?
totally agree.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
true. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not an astrology.
Hmm. Hmm.
It is just a probability of
Hmm.
something happening.
Hmm.
And a lot of people who are more productive, constructive, they
Hmm.
will dig deeper into AI, find more use cases of AI, just like what happened with computers.
Hmm.
People found more use cases and developed
Hmm.
further technologies.
Hmm.
AI will help people, blind people, navigate the world very easily. AI will give them eyes. AI will give ears to deaf people. AI will help
Hmm.
cure so many diseases easily. Remote
Hmm.
operations will become very easy through AI. So there will be a whole bunch of people doing
Hmm.
the use cases on AI.
Hmm.
And as you're right, some of the people who will become more free will spend more time on social media
Hmm.
or on other things.
Hmm.
And some of us will
Hmm.
spend more time doing astral travel because AI will do the work.
Hmm.
The world is mix of positive ions and negative ions, and that actually makes it more beautiful. So you
Hmm.
will see both directions happening.
Hmm. So, as a leader, if I'm say a middle management or maybe even a senior management, how do I need to adapt myself to be a better leader in a world that has increasingly more AI interventions?
So we have trained everyone in our company on generative AI. That is a mandatory. You
Hmm.
have to use Chat GPT, make your work easier.
ChatGPT gives you weird answers sometimes. I mean, I
It
have
does.
used ChatGPT, the unpaid version, of course. I don't have the paid version. But even to a layperson like me, some of the answers that ChatGPT gave me, I was like saying, "What are you doing, ChatGPT? This is like bizarre." And it
So
actually then lies. It gave me false. what do you call them, citations and false references. And when I went there, nothing existed. So it's scary. If we
It
believe that
is.
ChatGPT is the gospel truth, it can lead you, up the
And
garden path.
And thankfully, it is not, because then companies like us can survive because we build solutions over ChatGPT.
Okay.
So we train our people to how to improve ChatGPT further by using our own technology and on our own AI.
Hmm.
So we, just like people started learning iPhones and latest Android phones. Similarly, people will start using ChatGPT or
Hmm.
generative AI and other
Hmm.
AI
Hmm.
applications, and find that their life will become much easier. You don't
Hmm.
have to remember so many things. They will
Hmm.
create an auto note for you. Or
Hmm.
going to the grocery store, these are the things you need. Uh, so you will free up more time. And as you were rightly suggesting, very beautifully to your audiences,
Hmm.
spend that time doing more meditation and astral
Hmm.
travel, all the free time you're gaining there.
Hmm.
But everyone needs to get trained on this latest technology because it is going to make life easier. I'm
Hmm.
a pro AI, as you can figure out.
Yeah, no, you would be. But when you talk about we will have to remember less things. Now, is that really good or bad? Because when I was growing up, we had rotary phones, and I remembered, I think, 30 or 40 phone numbers. I think they were 7 or 8 digit numbers. Some of them I remember even now. I remembered them. I didn't need to look up anything. But today, I think the only phone numbers I remember are my own and my husband's, because everything else the phone, takes. Earlier, we used to go, we didn't have Google Maps. So our mind was actually doing more work.
I
Now
think,
that we are actually giving our mind less work to do, how do we expect to evolve as people?
yeah. And I'll unfortunately or fortunately, I will give you a spiritual answer to that.
Hmm.
The goal of human life is not to evolve as human, but to invest in the pension plan of the soul. So a lot of people
That's a good one.
spend their
Hmm.
time in pension plan of the body, which is going to go away anyway.
Hmm.
So when you have to remember less things, I think you should spend time remembering the name of the god. So I usually tell people to buy this and
Hmm.
chant constantly. Tulsidas ji, when he wrote Ramcharitmanas, such a bhakt, when
Hmm.
he was dying, even he couldn't remember Lord Ram's name. He
Hmm.
had pain all over his body, and he was remembering his mother. Then
Hmm.
Hanumanji came and slapped him and said, "Remember God's name." So it
Hmm.
is very difficult at the time of death to
Hmm.
remember God's name, because we spend all our life remembering phone numbers
Hmm.
and all the bad things people have done to us, all the bad experiences.
Hmm.
But whatever you remember at the time of the death is going to determine your next life. Uh,
Hmm.
so people should spend more and more time remembering positive things, and
Hmm.
if possible, if you believe in God, then believe in God's name, how
Hmm.
He looks. Spend time remembering those things so
Hmm.
that your next couple of lives get improved. So AI can help you actually improve your next life from that perspective.
But for that, you have to then invest in yourself and use that freed up mind space to build a pension plan for the soul. I'm going to use that phrase. Huh? I hope there's no copyright because I love it. Huh? Pension plan for the soul. I think it's really good. Now, before I we end the conversation, I do want to go back to astral travel and past life regression. Um, ha- I mean, how does it work?
So past life regression
And
helps
don't you get
you.
caught? I mean, I'd love to do past life regression. My biggest fear is what if I stay there and I'm unable to come back?
Chances are very rare because you are
But
just
the
tapping into your.
probability is not zero, right? So there
Yes,
is that
that's true.
danger, right?
In astral travel, it is not. In
Hmm.
past life regression, probability is 100%
Hmm.
because your Sukshma Sharira is not traveling. In astral travel, Suksha is traveling, and I know some of my peers who were doing astral travel got stuck and needed help
Oops.
to come back. In
Oops.
past life, you're
Hmm.
just tapping into the hard drive of your soul and trying to figure out what I have done.
Hmm.
It helps you recover a lot of your phobias.
Hmm.
It helped me fix problems between my wife and my mother. They
Hmm.
had past life relationship, so it can help
So
you
your
fix
wife
relationship.
was the mother-in-law and your mother-in-law was the bride.
No, it was worse than that.
Okay.
They they had beaten each other pretty bad,
Okay.
so they carried that.
Hmm.
So it helped,
Hmm.
and it can be shocking. I had killed a friend in one of my past life, and
Hmm.
I got arrested for that. And I met this guy again, so I did my prashit when I met him. So it can be shocking because everyone thinks I was some Akbar or a
Hmm.
king
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
past life, but unfortunately we are not. We have done all bad karmas, and that's why we are here. Or I
Hmm.
wanted to run away and do take sannyas so often.
Hmm.
Past life taught me. In most of my life, I have done sannyas, but I have never learned to
Hmm.
stay grahast and still work as a sannyasi. So the
Hmm.
aim of my life is
Hmm.
how to stay detached with all the leadership,
Hmm.
growth, and all these talks, and
Hmm.
still be a sannyasi, which I've never learned in my past life. So it
Hmm.
can be very useful tool if used
Hmm.
rightly to be successful for
Hmm.
your soul's journey.
Hmm. And which has been the most interesting astral travel? Have you gone into the future, figured out which are the multi-baggers in stocks and come back and bought them?
Yes, I have done stocks. I have done exam questions. I have,
Really?
yeah, as a kid, I have done some of those things.
Hmm. Hmm.
But then the problem is, I also started seeing death of my family members,
Hmm.
which scared me. And then for years, you are living with that fear that this is how they are going to die. And if death is not pretty, which
Hmm.
sometimes it is not. So
Hmm.
then I have stopped going into that future because it doesn't help. Uh,
Hmm.
you see both pros and cons out of it.
Hmm.
I stick rather to astral travel
Hmm.
and try to go to some other realms. My best experience has been, and usually they say don't share a lot, so I would try to be
Okay,
very
don't,
restricted.
don't, don't, don't.
I will just share one
Hmm.
moment where I went to a different realm, like a Earth, and it had a huge area just for Shiva Mandir, and this is very specific reason I'm telling you about this
Hmm. Hmm.
to prove the science behind it.
Hmm.
I was with my mother there. We spent a couple of hours. In the morning, I went to her and I said, "You know where we were yesterday?" And
Hmm.
she described me the whole thing because she
Right.
also does astral travel. So we both astral travel and had the same experience, and we realized we both are there. So it is
Hmm.
as scientific as it gets.
Hmm. Hmm. Actually, Puneet, I can, like go on talking all about this, but okay, before we finally finish, where do dreams come into all of it? Are dreams like real? Are they a manifestation of your desire? What are dreams? Because some people have really vivid dreams.
It's a mix. Some people do astral travel and it shows up as a dream because that's why you're in meditative state.
Hmm.
Sometimes, as you said, it is just an expression of what you are thinking. So
Hmm.
my suggestion would be start writing out the dreams.
Hmm.
If they form a story, then it will
Hmm.
tell you if you have astral travel, or it could be a past life regression as well.
Hmm.
Or if there is a similar pattern that it is, then it might be your same fears and hope. But
Hmm.
writing dreams is help you solve the mystery behind the dreams.
Hmm, right. So, it's actually been a fascinating conversation. And I love the way that leadership, the way that you describe leadership, is a marriage between technology and spirituality. And a lot of the leaders today, they have this vision of themselves as being, say, an Arnold Schwarzenegger or a macho man, and they can themselves do everything. But I think it is important to realize that you do need to touch upon your spiritual self as well if you want to be a better leader. So, Puneet, thank you very much for this conversation, and I'm going to continue this conversation offline. I'm not going to let you go like this. So, but thank you very much for your time. And I hope that our viewers also have learned something new from the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonu. Thank you so much for your time.